All right, let's talk some Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, I think it's fair to say he's been a little disappointing through 2 weeks. Although I definitely don't think it's fair to say like, oh my God, is he a bust? Is he gonna be horrible? No. I mean, listen, every rookie quarterback has had some bad moments. Mac Jones has been kind of aggressively mediocre, which is promising for a young quarterback, but basically every other rookie quarterback has looked like a mess. I guess maybe Davis Mills has looked well as well, but for the most part, there's some issues, and there's issues that I expected going into this season, so I'm not concerned at all by him, actually. I think that all of the issues that I've seen were things I speculated would probably happen when he got to the NFL, and there are some legit impressive things. So I think in this video, something I've talked about a lot, during my Zach Wilson video, one thing I mentioned was, let's talk about the difference between bad and worrying, right? What's bad and what is discouraging? What makes you worried about his career, right? I think it's fair to say Trevor Lawrence had a bad 2 weeks. I also think it's fair to say that Trevor Lawrence absolutely has not had a worrying 2 weeks, if that makes sense. If not, hopefully you'll understand a little bit more once we get into the film study. So let's just jump into it. So right here, this was the first drive Lawrence had was really good. I don't know if it was like a scripted drive or what, but the first drive, really good stuff by the Jaguars. So this was nice to see. On this play, it's actually going to be quarters coverage, and you have a receiver running a double move right here. So this is definitely the type of route that, it's something that could get open. It's not something that's guaranteed to get open, but it will kind of be a one-on-one matchup. And look, right when this play starts, the safety crashes in a little bit. So now it is just a true one-on-one matchup. You got the corner. You got a situation where this could potentially work out. So for Trevor Lawrence right here, taking this chance, it's not a horrible chance to take. Now, worth mentioning a little bit, he's making this decision a little early. He doesn't know if this is going to be complete or not. But honestly, on one hand, that's kind of a good thing, right? Because that's kind of one of his issues he had a little bit early on, like in preseason, was he was just waiting for guys to get wide open, and that just wasn't happening. Kind of learning a little bit to throw with anticipation. Also, this is just a perfectly accurate throw. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. And this is something that, I've talked about a little bit this week, is sometimes when you make a perfect throw, it makes decisions look better, right? If it's a 90% chance that it's going to be an interception, but your throw is perfect and it was that 10% chance for a touchdown, then it looks like a perfect throw. That's a hypothetical, not this play. But regardless, I think it's a fine decision, especially because, Lawrence makes good throws. We know this about him. Something like this was promising as well, where what's going to happen on this play is that it's going to be, so it's zone coverage they're going up against. You see the route concept on your screen. Lawrence at first is going to look towards his left. And as you see right here, he does look towards his left. We've seen players make this throw. It's a dangerous throw. This is actually how pick sixes happen. So I give Lawrence credit for not making this throw. I'm not sure if I would give Tom Brady credit for not making this throw, right? You kind of expect that to happen. But for someone like Lawrence, who obviously is a very young guy and played in a very college-style offense, getting in a situation where it's a very NFL-style play, knowing to not make this throw is smart. But what I love even more is what else he's going to do. Look at him survey the field, and once he realized nothing was open, throws the ball away. That's impressive. It just is. I know it seems silly to be praising a quarterback for throwing the ball away, but when you're in your second NFL game, I mean, this is an issue of why Zach Wilson threw 4 interceptions, right? Because he wouldn't throw the ball away. Seeing Lawrence kind of throw the ball away here and there, that's what you want to see. You want to see guys who are willing to say, okay, this play isn't working, let me just throw it out of bounds. All right, now for some negatives. Listen, there still is more negatives than there are positives, but again, let's talk about bad versus concerning. To me, this is very much in the bad but not concerning category, where it's the way this play works is it's zone coverage that Denver is going up against. It's a cover 3 zone. You have a receiver who's running over the middle, and a corner should probably follow him, which would allow for a tight end to run over the middle and potentially get open. And watch, Lawrence takes the snap. The concept works out perfectly, right? That's a wide open tight end right here. So you have a wide open tight end. Lawrence, you got to make this throw now because there is a safety deep. So yes, he's wide open for now, but you got to definitely make sure this ball gets out of your hands, and you got a big completion. Good work. Instead, Lawrence waits too long, kind of throws weirdly and not very hard as well, and that gets intercepted right there. That's a bad interception. That might be the worst interception of the season, quite frankly. Not in the sense of it was like a horrible throw or anything, but just you factor on, like, okay, if a decent quarterback is in the game right there, they make that throw quickly and it's a big completion. And by decent, I mean, like, a guy who's been in the league for a few years, maybe like a Jacoby Brissett. He makes that play. Lawrence didn't. But again, it's bad. It was a really bad play. It's not concerning because, okay, he needs to learn to make those decisions quicker. That's fine. Most quarterbacks have to learn the timing of the NFL and all of that stuff. So that's why it's not concerning, but it was bad. Like, also something like this was kind of, it was a risk that it didn't end up being a horrible like outcome, but it could have been. So it's man coverage, cover one, and you have a receiver who's going to be running an out route right here. This is the play that can work for sure. It's something on paper that you might like, especially with Lawrence being on the hash marks on that side of the field. It's a little bit of a better angle than if it was going on the other side of the field. But watch how right when this play starts. So you do see that this is pretty good coverage, right? I mean, I kind of understand the logic behind Lawrence making this throw, but this is kind of the definition of a throw you make in college that you shouldn't make in the NFL. Again, to make the Zach Wilson comparison, I'm trying to not talk too much about Wilson, but I do feel like it's worth talking about both of them because they are two, very hyped up prospects that have been kind of disappointing through 2 weeks. This is how Wilson threw a couple of his interceptions, were stuff like this. And for Lawrence, it's not going to work out that poorly. But I mean, look, he makes that throw anyways. That could have easily been picked right there. Maybe should have been picked, quite frankly. So again, bad, not concerning, right? That's the thing I keep coming back to because he'll learn, okay, maybe don't make that throw. Or if I do, you really got to get it out, towards the outside. Make DJ Chark make a diving catch towards the sideline to make that grab. Don't just fire it in there and, hope for the best. There's better ways to make that throw as well. And like this, one more. So this is it's another example of kind of these bad decisions that he made that I also feel like aren't necessarily concerning decisions that he made. It's going to be man coverage, and you have Patrick Surtain on this play, that's the corner who's going to be covering the receiver that Lawrence wants to hit on this play. Now, I think part of why you're deciding to make this decision, you might say, hey, wait a second, an undrafted free agent going up against a guy who was picked with a top 10 pick, this seems like a mismatch. But with a go route, I think the logic is, hey, Tyron Johnson, that's the receiver on this play. He, ran a sub 4.440. That was admittedly his pro day time, but still, at least sub 4.5. Whereas for Surtain, his 40 was not as impressive. That's kind of one of the issues people had with him. It's one of the issues I had with him coming out of the draft. The only issue, in fact, I had with him coming out of the draft. And so trying him here on a go route, there's some real logic right here. I totally understand that. So on paper, this logically makes sense. However, right when this play starts, look at how far back Surtain is. I mean, he is not letting himself get burned deep, which, I think on one hand, this is something that you could see on the sidelines and say, hey, let's, set this situation up, but then instead have our receiver, fake as though he's running a go route, run a comeback route or something, could get open there. But the flip side is what you can't do is throw the ball deep right here because, Surtain is definitely, he's making himself be in position where he could potentially cover that. That's what he's trying to cover up. Lawrence takes this chance anyways, and while Johnson did make up a good amount of ground, there just wasn't enough ground to be made up that quickly, and Surtain also makes a great catch for the touchdown. So something like that, it's like, okay, on paper, I understand the logic here, but once you see the play and how it's actually playing out, you have to make an adjustment, and Lawrence didn't there. So again, stuff he has to learn about. So yeah, as a whole, listen, is it a perfect performance? No, we all know it. He had some rough moments, but as a whole, there were some positive things as well. And again, these rookie quarterbacks, they're just going to take time. Justin Herbert has kind of ruined rookie quarterbacks for everyone because everyone's like, you're not already a great quarterback, you must suck. Not exactly how this stuff works. And again, especially not 2 games into it. By the end of the season, if Lawrence is still making these mistakes, then maybe it's time to start getting a little concerned. But it's 2 games. You can't get that concerned already. But hey, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What were your thoughts on Lawrence's performance? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.